we should scrupulously avoid defeatist and desperate talk. Misfortunes have a knack, by the grace of God, to become blessings in the long run. If you sit down and apply common arithmetic to your plans and to the national income on which you must ultimately draw for executing any or all of your plans, you will find most plans going to pieces in the process of calculation, and in sheer desperation you have to put your head into the sand ostrich-like and refuse to see what is before you. What Sanskrit or culture can we hope to conserve if our children are not brought up wisely and well and in a matured manner? We may build our castles in the air with impunity because the real house we live in down below has been maintained by the humble and unlettered, unmindful of our endeavors at higher levels. A revolutionary leader or saint may appear by a miracle now and then in the history of a nation and reshape their affairs and their character. The most important equipment that a young man must get before he leaves his university is personality, not learning but character. Unfortunately, the atmosphere of our colleges is far too much vitiated by intellectual and moral confusion for anything like this to be attempted. There is not that guidance available which is essential for the building up of a personality in the young men and women studying in the universities. Brain power is of a very high order and a tremendous quantity of learning is put in, but the essential stuff is wanting. The explanation offered is that there is confusion both intellectual and moral in the world around, and this is reflected in the universities. But is it enough for universities to reflect outside confusion instead of making up for it? The function of the universities must be to reform, not proportionately to represent society, but to do something to restore moral values and intellectual orderliness where there is anarchy. Folly must be replaced by reason, passion must be put aside in favor of reflection, ideals must be installed where caprices grow, principles must prevail, not opportunism. It is the function of universities to produce young men and women who will be able to find joy and fulfillment of spirit by guiding the people up this glorious mountain path. Young men of today are the sport of random and confused thought that finds expression in ephemeral printed matter of whose undependability even the victims are not aware. All learning should develop personality, otherwise it is worthless in every sense. We cannot afford to exaggerate our fears and rest content doing nothing. We cannot afford to hate a simple negative attitude. We cannot afford to have a simple negative attitude on account of our hesitation. All spiritual search is one, and God blesses it wherever it is done and by whomsoever. Not by total exclusion of all religion and spiritual thought, but by all embracing acquaintance and appreciation of spiritual thought of all kinds, shall we be safe and shape ourselves properly. Let us shed greed and mutual jealousy. All misunderstanding and distrust dissolve into thin air if we approach them with courage. Let the vigilance be never relaxed. Buddha had the greatest courage, greatest humility, and greatest hope, and was the purest and most enlightened among men and women of our land. I have no doubt in my mind that young men and women who work part of the day and carry on their duties at the same time learn better and will prove naturally the best of them all, beating those who appear to concentrate more, having the facilities therefore. It's very difficult to play a fair game and to smile after losing, like the stagnant water breeding mosquitoes and fever. Uninvested money produces high prices and corruption and bad character all around. All sensible nations hesitate going to war and try by every means to avoid it. Money makers are habituated to miserliness, and accumulated wealth has an inherent tendency to remain unspent. Future welfare must be built on solid foundations. Let us all begin to think nobly and wisely. Let us not be poor and unwise, but as we improve our income, let us improve our minds also. Exploitation by intellectuals who wish to bring up the state is as bad as exploitation by the rich. Millions of men and women cannot live in peace without a strong and stable state. Let us not live on the past. We have to work for the future. Your respect should come out of love and not fear. To be happy takes time. Many a fresh difficulty arose which had to be solved by patience, humility, and wisdom, which is called penance. Keep your affection, respect, and love everlasting. Lazy men who abhor or look down upon manual labor or who cannot fraternize with all classes of people have no place in the territorial army. The teachings of all saints have one object, to make man realize that he is one of a brotherhood of lives, all dependent on the mercy of one mystic power. The mutual love and confidence generated by a common form of worship make people sacrifice their individual interests in favor of the common good of the community. Religion should not become a war cry. It should be a slogan for love and compassion and friendliness and cooperation with all living beings. Let not religion become a cause for pride, hatred, litigation, or bloodshed. Let us not make a poison of what was intended to be Amrit. May God give us strength and faith in one another. Without uttermost cooperation and grace of God, we cannot overcome our difficulties. The eternal tension between individualism and the human urge for gregarious life is obvious to all who have given their thoughts to the inescapable incidents of human progress. No achievement is worthwhile if it is to be secured through chaos or violence. India should set an example in internal reconstruction even as it has done in securing national independence, that peaceful and non-violent means give the most permanent and happiest results. Till now the world was more or less peaceful, but now, as you who live on the border know, conditions in China, Burma and Tibet are in a very, very difficult and dangerous state. The uneducated may not understand till actually danger comes. You are very wise in not letting me into the secrets of your trouble. Unless we are united, unless we are strong, unless we escape follies and thoughtlessness, we can easily become the prey of confusion and chaos introduced from abroad. There is a continual struggle in the human mind. We want to live together, but we also want to live each for himself. If we yield to individual selfishness, we shall be destroyed. We cannot resist the great powers of chaos that are developing around us unless We make the government of India strong, and unless we sail in the same boat and so to say, hug one another tight,